Cyprus is an ancient island in the eastern Mediterranean. St. Paul came here, Aphrodite, the goddess of love, was born here, and today tourists flock to the island for its sunshine, ancient monuments and sandy beaches. But it wasn't all like this. In 1958 it was a British possession in the grip of rebellion. The British were holding it as a colony and the Greek Cypriots were fighting for independence. And the Turkish Cypriots didn't trust anybody. So this is Pentadaktylos, my book. Our story starts some years before, 1940 in fact. A young British Army lieutenant arrives and he meets and falls in love with a beautiful young Greek Cypriot woman named Eleni. And she's the daughter of an affluent Nicosia doctor. A love affair develops within sight of a famous mountain named Pentadaktylos, which means 5 fingers. The couple has a picnic on a beach west of Kyrenia. They swim in the sea and afterwards make love. I'd like to read you just a little bit of that opening chapter of the book. Most evenings and at weekends, the couple spent their time together. He bought a little Austin 7 Tourer, and when Mrs. Patriotism wanted to come along, that's Eleni's mother, obviously as a chaperone, Eleni quickly pointed out it was designed for only 2 people, so reluctantly she agreed to stay at home and let the young couple enjoy their time together. If Gregory Somerville was not absolutely convinced of his love for Eleni, the young woman was undoubtedly head over heels in love with her Englishman. Love isn't everything, especially in the presence of wealth, laughed a young fellow officer, and Somerville, feeling a mounting anger, would have slashed him with a cane had not an older, more experienced officer hurriedly intervened with more suitable conversation and broken the tension. But that was weeks ago, and the relationship was now taking on a new dimension. Taking a handful of sand, he watched as it flowed easily through his fingers. "That would be nice," he whispered. "What would, dearest?" "To be a tiny grain of sand, to stay here forever and ever and a day, simply basking in the sun, listening to the waves creating a rhythmical chorus among the pebbles, to feel the soft evening breezes rustling through the tall grass on the shore. This could be our own private paradise." Eleni moo. "Just you and me. No people, no cars, no hustling, no arguments, no wars, just peace on earth." He watched carefully as the last grains of sand slipped out of his hands. Suddenly her hands reached out and clasped his head, and she stared into his eyes. "Greg, dearest, you will come back. Promise you will. Promise me before God." Well, Gregory Somerville goes off to the war and is involved in the British Expeditionary Force, their evacuation from Greece. And it's at that point that he's injured. He's badly injured. And a doctor in Cairo tells him that because of his injuries, he will not be able to have any children. In the process of war, he loses contact with Eleni, and he is shipped back to Britain to convalesce. And he recovers. It's now October 1958, and Somerville is posted back to Cyprus. He's been away for 18 years. And one terrible night, a dying Greek journalist tells him that his former love, Eleni, was disowned by her family, and he has a son, but just not a teenage son. The boy has joined the ranks of a yoker to drive the British out of Cyprus, and the journalist dies, leaving Somerville in torment. Unable to find Eleni, he tries to find his son, but the boy has been caught up with a special assassination team that has orders to kill the British governor and a high-ranking British politician. To complicate his life, his patient wife for many years goes off with a long-time lover, a famous American journalist. How Gregory Somerville comes through is all in this historical novel. While the characters are all very much fictitious, the environment is as it happened. As one reviewer remarked, the backdrop makes it all sound so real, just like a news story. Well, the truth is that I lived through that period in Cyprus, and I worked as a journalist on the island through those times. And while I was writing the novel, it brought back many emotional memories of colleagues and loved ones. The essence of the story is one man's dedication to fight for a son that fate put on the other side of no man's land. It's called Pentadaktylos, Love, Promises and Patriotism in the Last Days of Colonial Cyprus. And if you enjoy reading thrillers of a different age, this one should be, like the English say, a cup of tea. It's available at Amazon, both in Britain and in the United States, and at many bookstores in both of those countries. It's also on Kindle, and it's all on the ebook at Smashwords. So if you do read it and you have comments, and I hope you do, I would enjoy hearing from you. Thank you.